Okay, I guess it's 7 o'clock, daylight savings time. So we'll get rolling. We have present myself, Mr. Wood, Mr. Mannix is absent this evening, Mr. Moore, Mr. Renada is absent, Mr. Collins, good to have you again, and Mr. Coffey. First thing we have is a public comment period. I don't think I need to remind you, please state your name and everything else for the record. John St. Germain, as indicated, you'd like to speak about unemployment.
I got your email, Bernie, and I understand what you presented, but what I don't understand is why you have the unemployment state fund that you can't touch, and yet you transferred $700 out of where to where, and how are you going to get rid of it? Because the state writes the check to the employee, not the town. So when you transfer $700 into the unemployment fund, you already had the money in there for the state to make the payment, and all it has to be is deducted from that amount.
Again, I'm going to break with the norm a little bit, and I'm 0 for 2 now. But you need an answer. And I'm not the finance manager, but I did go to a meeting also at the chamber. I think it might have been, well, it doesn't matter. That topic also came up. Those funds that we've got locked in, they're there. They're gone. They're done. They're not ours. We can't get them. I can't get them refunded, which I have an editorial on, but I won't say it at the moment. The only way, and this is one of the things in the governor's new proposal now, to create a level-funded payment system for school districts and municipalities that will, eliminate the real high periods. Oh my God, there were times when it, went up 0.5% or nothing, and
But that's
you
retirement.
knew that wasn't.
That's retirement, not unemployment that you're talking about.
You're right. I jumped train on you. See, I said I'm not the finance manager. I guess I did, John, because that one is still bothers me a great deal. And I honestly don't know if it was unemployment or retirement that I'd asked Pat about and on that payment. So I guess I'll have to follow up some more. Or, give him a call. Or how about if I have him give you a call?
Yeah.
Because we're doing middleman here, and I don't want to give you misinformation. But yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
retirement piece is exactly like that, and that's what I was referencing.
Yeah, no, this one here is where
Yeah,
you pay in a certain percentage of your payroll every year, and then
yeah.
if somebody draws
But the
against
towns,
you, they draw it down.
the towns in a plan where we pay
Direct.
on demand because people just don't,
Right, we
become
went to
unemployed.
direct payment, I don't know,
Right.
maybe
quite a
8
few years
years
ago.
ago, or
Yeah.
what have you. My other question is on the,
Is it okay if Pat gives you a call?
yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
He was out today, not feeling well. I'm going to assume he's in tomorrow, but the next day or two,
Yeah.
unless he
Yeah.
deceases, he'll give you a call.
Okay.
Okay.
And the other thing was on the lighting, I assume now you have taken over the lighting districts under the consolidation.
They've all been consolidated.
And I know in Paul's presentation, you had said that, there would be almost next day service, when you had problems with the lights and.
We don't
We haven't
own
bought
them
them
yet. We don't, we're still waiting public service.
Oh,
commission.
The district is consolidated, but we haven't bought them.
Right.
I see, because I wondered if, I know like the one up by Katyville Beach has been out for 2 months now.
That's part of why we wanted to do that.
And
I've got someone on LeVere Street has been calling for 3 or 4 months. They want a light on the end there, and it's in NYSEG's hands now.
I see.
Until we actually
But even when
take
you,
ownership, it's the way it used to be, but with a single,
but even once you
consolidated.
take ownership, same day service is almost
if it's a light bulb,
impossible, isn't it?
no, if it's a light bulb, that's not that hard. I mean, if,
No, the problem is, what are you gonna do to identify which ones are out? Are you
Every-
just- somebody gonna?
same way we always did.
We
How
have to,
would I
we're
say
gonna
no?
tag the pole, so if you just give us a pole number, we'll know what light
Well,
it
yeah,
is.
but, so basically what you're gonna do it is by calling, by people saying.
Somebody has to call and tell you that there's
Right.
streetlights out. You got 48 square miles of town, as you know.
Yeah, so that's why.
I was
I
proposing
wondered-
we'd hire somebody to just drive around at
Well,
night.
that's what, when you said same-day service, I said, well.
Same day if
you
someone
know,
calls and tells us, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the goal, that should stay the goal. I mean, if they're doing something, they can't get at it, they have to order lights, but the goal is, we can try and respond right away. Absolutely.
But a few years from now, after we've done preventive maintenance for a number of years, John, those light bulbs that are just cycling out and going off on their own because they haven't been changed in 15 years, that process should come to a very, I mean, it'd be less than 1% would start going out at that point once we do.
yeah, I just
preventive
wondered
maintenance.
how, when you said same-day service, in the
Well,
presentation, it sounded like, you know, that somebody was gonna have to go out and ride the roads every night and.
Well, you gotta remember too, we have, in the wintertime, we've got guys that that are on the roads for highway, and they do mark down the lights they see out and bring the list back to Art, so
Yeah.
if there are those, they do keep track of it.
Well, some of our lights are on not only town roads, though, right? They're on, like, Route 3,
Correct.
74.
Yep.
I'm sure the process will
Thank
take a
you.
little bit of time before it really gets done, but once we get them and we can get started on it, I'm sure by the end of the year, we'll have quite a few of them. I doubt there'll be very many that won't be up.
I mean, oftentimes I'll get a call, somebody has put up with the light being out for 3 months and they call and they're, you know, they're just livid. And I'm like, I just found out. If we can't fix it, we don't know. And we've all done that. Paul will give me a call and say, hey, there's a light out in Salmon River Road. So, you know, we go through the process and fix it.
Well, when we actually get to ownership, why
January
there'll probably be
2nd, I
some big
reported one
article
that's
in the
still out.
newspaper and
Route
there'll probably be
22
some big
and
article in the newspaper and
the
you can
on-ramp
mention
to
that they should call us.
87,
Yeah.
right by the
One
mobile station.
One by Kingsville Beach has been out since, well, the first of the year anyway. That's when I first noticed it, but
Yep.
it's right there.
A lot of times people don't bother, they don't know who to call, you know.
Well, I know.
It's unfortunate.
I know the one by my house was out for 6 years.
But did you call and tell somebody?
No, because
That's why.
I never wanted it fixed because it charged right my.
I'll switch with you. I'll take yours and you take mine. I don't have any light by mine. That'll be good.
Effa, God bless her, wanted that light fixed, so she's the one that reported.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people who've just, you know, been adamant, they want that light out of there.
Yeah.
And, you know, pick up the next phone call and somebody just, you know, for safety and everything, you know, you're negligent, put a light in. So we've actually moved a couple from one that doesn't want it over. What are you gonna do? But I'll tell you, the bottom line is, in my mind, it isn't the whole picture. We're gonna save some money. And I think you're seeing rates change already very positively. There's absolutely no reason why we can't save some money. And, you know, whatever it takes to make it work, that's what will happen. We didn't have anyone else down, so I'm gonna move the agenda. The natural gas, that's just, I guess, information we don't often get to talk if anybody has a question, but you're probably all well aware the surveys are out. Some of you I know have responded to them. I spoke with Dave Gridley last week and he said they have been coming in pretty steady.
Good.
Hopefully it continues that way. We will meet with them. We don't have a date yet. We decided sometime in April, after Thanksgiving, which is early anyway, maybe the first weekend of April. I want to give them time to get.
After Thanksgiving?
Did I say
Has
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving moved up?
See, that's what happened with
Unemployment.
old age, unemployment, retirement.
When it is. I thought St.
Not a
Patrick's Day was
With
coming up, but I don't know.
Easter, I think. Easter's the rabbit,
Easter,
right?
oh.
Thanksgiving's the turkey. Now I'm the turkey. We'll get together on that. I want them to do a little disaggregating of some of that information. As important as anything, I think we need to know who sent that in, who is in a existing district, but they don't use natural gas right now. What I'm concerned, and I know we talked a little, is the funding of it. You know, a lot of times we dangle something that's a good thing in front of people, but if they are facing a pretty significant cost to them to convert, they can't take advantage. So, you know, they're paying a little extra every year because they can't do the upfront to save a lot. I did have a very, and you probably saw it in the report, very favorable conversation with Linda Bourgeois at You First. I have a meeting set up next week with Community Bank, and Key Bank has indicated a strong interest. You First cannot do commercial, which is fine. The other banks can. You know, we've got some small businesses in the town that may be in the same situation. The cost of converting their business to take advantage of natural gas may be prohibitive. So we're having those dialogues, and my new buzzword has been private-public partnerships. We need partnerships to provide the services and help the community take care of its needs. So that's going on. Everything seems to be fine. I haven't had any adverse conversations anyway, so that's the scoop with that. And if you don't stop me, I'm going to keep on rolling. Committee appointments. I noted amendment, but since I asked Deb to put it in that way, I don't think we need one. January 7, Resolution 20, we had a resolution appointing everybody to committees. Everybody knows that. My concern has been, and in our draft, we often think of the auditing committee as the audit committee. And Paul and Gerard, you do the audits, and that's the real essence of what you do. That takes a lot of extra time. I know usually one or both of you are in a Sunday, and if you don't, you know, you're in Monday, but certainly prior to the meeting, but it usually ties up weekend time. What I think we need to do in our notes, and I think it was only because it didn't fit well, it would have pushed the outline down the line. We didn't have auditing committee, we had auditing. Every other committee assignment was thought of more as a committee for liaison purposes. But when I pulled the resolution, it read that Councilors Lemoyne and Renadette be appointed to the auditing committee for the year 2013. This committee shall examine all vouchers presented to town for payment. It's not a limitation. So I don't think, and Jim, unless you feel otherwise, I guess what I'm saying is I want us to start thinking of that group as more than just auditing vouchers and whatnot, but a finance committee. And if we don't need to do an amendment, we'll let it go for the rest of this year, but I would like to, next year, change the title to simply Finance Committee, inclusive of auditing. Because I think that's as important as a group, a department as that in this town. They don't really have a liaison.
Isn't it quite a bit different than going through the all the roles in it?
It needs to be.
I mean, there's quite a few other things, and Paul's been doing some of those, and when went down, we had to do the audit for the justice courts and
Yep.
stuff like that. I mean, they've been doing those. I don't know, it seems to me that that's one of the ones that takes a lot more work.
Well, it
And
does.
could be a lot more time.
Yep.
And they're already putting in a lot of time on those vouchers. I mean, I don't know if you want to give that particular committee, just two people, that much more work. I know they're gluttons for punishment. But,
No, I'm fine with that.
And I don't know how much more, but I want the department to feel like they too have counselors. They can say, I want to talk to you about how we're going to do the budgeting, scheduling, priorities. And I think that really reflects that within the town hall, the other departments truly, we've grown a lot with these committees, they truly communicate, count on it. I mean, they'll come to me with something, have you talked to the committee yet? I'm one person, talk with them, see what they think. So, does that make some sense to you?
Yep.
Jim, do you see a need to make any changes?
No.
We just kind of, an understanding and expansion of duties. I'll change that, I'll change, I'll let them know that, and then we'll redo that to be a finance committee, for lack of a better thought at the moment. Number 3, again, just sharing, I want you all to be thinking, give me some feedback. And I know we have, you know, the need for professional services periodically, et cetera, in a variety of ways, legal services and so on. But I think it would be beneficial for the town to have an RFP for consulting engineering services. We've got a lot of very specific need. For example, the town's master plan, working with codes and zoning ordinances. Mel did a new rec master plan. Engineering in the field relative to road and drainage needs, relative to water and sewer or lighting. I would like to go out and see if we can get proposals from a variety of companies. And I know, Tom, in New York, you were bird dogging what some of the options are, and you and I have talked that there are a number of companies with expertise. We talk about the Saranac River Trail. It's getting harder, I think, with the law and everything else to have a firm or two that can kind of do whatever you want for a municipality. We might be shortchanging ourselves. Let's look for specialists. It's like, you know, everybody needs a GP, but you got a heart problem, you go to a cardiologist.
Pretty much all of them are willing to send people, obviously, no cost to go over with us.
Yeah, and
So,
if
You can try to find out which ones are better in particular areas, and obviously use their past history.
right, I think there could be a great advantage. It's time consuming, I know, to do RFPs and do the interviews, but we might identify some expertise that will meet some of our specific needs. So, Paul, I'm seeing your head bob.
Yep.
Okay, I will pursue that and keep you tuned in. That's all we need to do there. Sharing, I don't know, it might be mine. Just sharing
Oh, good. One I can read.
a bit. I don't have another, Rick, this is the lighting, we'll get one for you. There are times when Paul and Gerard, I think you dig more than anybody, many times more than me, on the vouchers, as you should. And we see bills coming through to pay for tools. We don't always get to see the use. We've been moving forward with technology in a lot of ways, with pictometry, with GIS mapping, something most of us don't use. I see it during the day. We have a question, we see it show up. Brian's been using both, but pictometry in particular. And I spent a little time with him today. I don't know what the number of parcels are in the town. It's again, 48 square miles, and some of them are very small. I don't know how many assessors it would take to go to and do a field review of every parcel every 3 years. Enormously time consuming. And some of the parcels obviously are far more complex, depending what structures are on them, et cetera, et cetera. We looked at a property today that, using pictometry, that had been, EFA had gone out and done the data gathering on in, I think, 2005. The pictometry we were using was from a 2008 flyover. Simply by using that, our assessor, God bless him, you know, him and the Undertaker are two favorite people. He was able to identify that from the last visit, the property now had what looked like a very nice, very large fenced-in area all around their backyard. They had a swim pool, had a very large deck, etc. He was also able, using the pictometry, and this is acceptable by New York State now, to measure that fence and measure that deck, and is able to input that data. And when you see that, and you see the number of properties that he could gather that kind of information and update them, paved driveways that last time you were out weren't paved, and so on, additions to homes.
No, this is, you said from 2008?
This one was a 2008 flyover, I believe. I can't read the fine print. It's amazing stuff, but he also has been helping us be a little proactive. This is an update of the Town of Plattsburgh Consolidated Lighting District. The blue properties are at the general rate and the yellow are special. We just kind of quickly did this. Now, this is an 8.5 by 11. Obviously, he can zoom in, and this is where we found, as we did the first time, Paul was like a little kid on Christmas morning, discovered a number of properties, streets, that had street lights and weren't paying anything into any lighting district. It simply had been missed somewhere along the line. But if you gather the data and you put it in, then you can begin to see these things.
Could you just tell me what these things mean, the blue and the yellow? I can't read the,
Paul, that's been your baby. Do you want to?
Yeah, the blue are the areas in the town that are paying the 5 cent general tax, and the rest are, the yellow is what's in the lighting district. And I think that the red are some anomalies in the actual program that Brian had to go and address, but they're all, I believe, in the general.
What's the difference in what would be in terms of payment in the yellow and the blue?
One's 5 cents and one's 13. The blue is 5 cents, the yellow's 13.
Keep it just like it is, that's fine.
Are you feeling a bit blue?
oh,
this
wait a
evening?
minute, there's one particular property out in Cumberland Head, I think we've gotta add to this.
It's that red one right over, no. So some of the red ones are, we found they're either like a church or a school, or they're exempt for some reason, and quite a few are,
Lawyers.
And some just need attention.
right.
But it's use of some of this technology that the more we know what we have, it's answers to problems and questions that aren't necessarily driving having the technology. And
So we're investigating the ones in the red? Is that what we're doing?
Most of them we have investigated already, and for one reason or another, they are exempt properties completely.
They not
Yeah,
will not go in the.
Like, if you see the little red one way out in Cumberland Head, there's only one little square, that's the
Yeah.
Cumberland Head School.
And, okay, so,
the little light one, yellow one on the point is the ferry dock. They
Yeah.
have lots of lights. They weren't paying.
The church, isn't
so these, red ones would continue to be exempt, or are you saying they might go into the general?
I don't think we know yet. We're just doing data gathering and data analysis right
The
now.
church isn't exempt.
And the
They,
cemeteries.
they pay special use.
And the
I don't know what that
cemeteries.
Splits merge, I don't know.
We looked into that. There are some that do that are exempt for, wholly exempt for that. Now, cemeteries seem, as I recall, were on that list.
So there should be 2 red dots.
But that's something, and he's pulled a couple other properties in along the way that we had missed because of this. Now I could go right down to a specific lot. But at some point, when he feels that's about as complete as he can get, you should have a larger one of that.
Is there something on the town line road or something way out? I don't know what road that is.
Yeah, there's a wedge there. I don't know what that is offhand, Tom. We'd have to look at a larger.
Where are you looking at, Tom?
There's
that
wedge.
little wedge
Just,
right
just
there.
out, way
Yeah,
past out.
what that is.
it's a landlocked piece of property that's almost all exclusively in another township. Just that little piece, for whatever reason, wound up in our town. It's completely landlocked, so,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right, we have a resolution to look at. Like I said, it's just like Saratoga, there are late scratches and late entries.
So we're not going to the minutes and stuff?
Well, I guess not. We'll do this first.
Going for Ricky.
Oh, I'm sorry. Before
This was on our agenda for one of the,
this was on as a draft, which is what I thought it would be. You know how I get about passing resolutions at work sessions. I do not like that, and I like us to go through them first. But I spoke with Mr. Stoddard today, and if he's going to go, it's the same old issue where they want the early registrations. You know, the early one also saves some money, et cetera, et cetera. And in order to get this in for April 16th, and get the best deal, if we're gonna pass it, we need to do so. What I would,
So you already have a resolution in there.
so you have a resolution in front of you, 94. You had a draft before. The draft was in the agenda. We thought it was a draft Friday.
So is this, how is this changed in the draft?
I see another typo. About 4 o'clock this afternoon, I revised the draft because it was coming forward. I did not do that before because it was still a draft. I haven't looked at the final revision, but that's what you've got in front of you. So let's bring it to the table and we'll go from there. It gives you a sense of why and what it is. So we have Resolution 94, request to attend annual New York Section American Water Works Association event and expo.
Whereas the town of Plattsburgh Water and Wastewater Department is required to maintain professional training and licensing. And whereas it is in the best interest of the town to remain current and informed concerning changes in the water and wastewater industry, concerning regulations, technology updates, and related system efficiencies. Now therefore be resolved that Scott Stoddard, Director of the Water and Wastewater Department, be allowed to attend the New York State Association of Water and Wastewater Works annual event and expo titled Our Aging Infrastructure, held on April the 16th through April the 18th in Saratoga Springs. And it be further resolved that $401 for lodging and meals and $305 for registration for the conference be charged to the water and wastewater budget amount number WS 1610 4410. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and to the water wastewater director.
A motion.
So moved.
Tom, second.
Second.
Paul. Now, any discussion? Debbie said she
So we
had,
saved about, over $120 at least by having to do it now instead of after the 15th.
right, I thought that was motive enough.
Yep.
Deb said she had given you some of the background information. This, what I just sent now, I asked her to put together the information on the conference and give you a chance to look at that.
When we
as
talked
well.
in, with the committee, talking about 2 people
He's going to go alone,
going. So,
yeah. I asked the same question, just him. He's trying to mix it up a little bit between him and Paul, and who in the department should go. One of the main topics in there is about aging infrastructure, which I kind of chuckled. You know, everybody in attendance is going to have 2 things, aging infrastructure and, number 2, a need for money. And there's some serious problems across the country.
Oh, is this the one that we went down and had the wards? They had the wards last, was it last year? We went down.
I'm not sure, it might be, because that was Saratoga,
And I think-
and it's the
and I-
same, it might be
well,
the
it
same
was in
one.
Saratoga,
It is
and
the
I-
one.
Is it the same one?
And I think it
There's,
was
there's
3.
this and Nowra they
It
go
was,
to.
it was 3 or 5 that went down last year. Some for just the day and.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we drove down and came back. It's, you know, and again, it's a lot of vendors, they do get a lot of information. I have no problem in going. I mean, it's good he's willing to and is able to.
Well, it didn't change from the other one, so no problem.
He went over this with you and Gerard?
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
No, the only thing I'd ask him is that we go to this every year, if we just didn't get this handed to us at a work session, that, you know, I mean, we go every single year, so it shouldn't be a big surprise
I know.
that this is coming up, so.
I know.
There's no reason we couldn't have done this in February and said, yeah, we.
Did they have the date in February, I think?
I don't know if I don't know when they released this. I was kind of doing the same, looking for
That's what I
a
looked for, I couldn't find it.
tag on the printing spec. I mean, there are things you get, if it isn't a broken line and nobody's hurt, you put it in the corner, and next week you get to it.
I get a lot of them that
It's,
do it the
I
month
don't know.
before, by the time you know about it,
I don't know when they distribute
less
it,
than a month.
but I grumble, believe me, I always grumble about that. It causes us a lot of stress in the office too, but it is what it is. Anything else? Ricky, roll call?
Thomas Wood,
Yes,
Paul Lemoyne.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Now, beyond that, we do have the minutes. I haven't reviewed them yet, but please,
yeah.
Give them a
just
shot.
Only one thing about the minutes, they're okay, but, the last one, and I realize it has a date on it, the last one, but it says we went into executive session. First it says that the meeting was adjourned at 8:52, and then down below the line, on the last page, and then down below the line, it says, motion to go into executive session, motion to, and I guess motion to come out of executive session. And I don't know if that should be up before, it's a minor thing, I guess, but usually we
sequentially, I hear what you're saying, Tom,
we
you're
go,
absolutely right. I
yeah,
totally agree.
sequentially, we go into the
Yep,
executive session.
it should
come out
be before we
adjourn.
close the meeting.
It does say the time, so if anybody looked at the time, they would know,
No, that's a good point.
you know, so that's why I didn't know.
That's
It's
a
the only
good
thing I found.
point. Well, keep looking.
I'm not gonna keep looking, I already went through it.
All right, count on you to look through them. We'll get that changed. Make a
Yep.
note of that, right? Just very quickly, all the drafts, we don't have the draft resolutions, but you've got the reports, et cetera. I would note, we had a codes and zoning monthly meeting today. We always have a codes and zoning planning part of the meetings. Nothing for their agenda, which meant there were no variances
What,
for codes and zoning.
today was coded?
We had, we had a meeting, in-house department.
Oh, in-house, okay, because,
But the point is that
did they change the dates from the second Tuesday and second Wednesday?
Yes, there was a date change.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna
I better find
attempt
out,
to
'cause I
remember what it
want to
is.
go to that, I expected to go to that this
Yep.
month.
Give us a call tomorrow. The new ordinance has really eliminated a lot of the variance requests and the issues with projects. I mean, it really did a good job to conform to current needs, current standards, so that's a very good thing. Parks and Rec report,
Still allows too many signs in.
town clerk's report. We've got a water wastewater in there. Historians, that will be amended. Some of the numbers didn't gel, but it's the same one the two of them went to last time.
On the recreation, I really think it's nice that they put the letters to the editor in there and name the kids that received.
Erin does a real nice,
She does a good
she
job.
does do a nice job. She's good with coordinating those events, and I'm always pleased that she has the kids here to get awards. The advertise for sealed bids for the fittings will go through some amendments also. You've got a first draft. A little bit of change coming up on the independent contractor. You may not see that one. I didn't get that far today, but I'm not sure you're going to see that one. It may be pulled, and I'll explain why.
Which one is that?
It's the last draft for
Service extension?
the independent contractor for the assessor's office?
No.
For appraisal services, yeah.
Oh, okay, it's not under a draft resolution.
Should be.
I've got a draft.
That's like I said, last one, right?
Last
Contract
one,
services
yep.
extension for assessment.
You can do that.
which is for the auditing help that we
What was the
had.
stuff yeah,
last
we
year.
did the same thing last year.
I don't think the budget's
They,
gonna carry it.
they got through, what, 700 homes, a little over
Quite a
700?
few. He did a good job.
So, the object is to get through more this year, and start earlier, right?
However many he can in the amount of, with the amount of money and time, if we do that. That one's still subject to a little bit.
And that
to-
was the one that the state changed the rules on, or didn't reimburse?
Yes, haven't for a few years. We don't participate in that program anymore.
Okay, so technically, we don't have to meet that requirement, or
We
do
still have
because
to
we
meet
did-
the
Because we did
requirement?
back in 2008, 2009?
No, I think we're getting near the end of a 6 or 8 year period that we had to have gone through all properties and updated. They're not done yet.
Okay, so that's what they're gonna be working on?
That's the target, yep.
And when's our, do you have a deadline for that? Do you have-
It's coming very soon. I offhand, I don't know, Tom. I'm going to say it might be as soon as next year. Want to throw me an email, I'll find out and get back to you, or just give them a call, but let us all know.
Well, I'll probably call it.
I know it's not this year. I'm going to look for a motion to go into executive session. I don't anticipate taking any action.
Is there anything else we have to cover here?
I don't have anything for this part of the evening. To discuss collective bargaining negotiations and the proposed acquisition and sale of real property.
Time for the collective bargaining already?
We are making our moves. Okay, can I get a motion on that?
So,
Paul, second.
Second. Unless you want a second.
Any discussion?
Thank you.
No, I just keep record. Get a roll call on that motion?
Thomas Wood,
Yes,
Paul Moyen.
yes.
Yes.
not that I want.
We'll go into executive session. I'll use my Mickey at 7:37.